All we've heard is secure borders. We've got them secure, but that's not true when you get down here. Governor Dewhurst has made two trips recently to Brooks County specifically, because as everyone has pointed out, this is a focal point right here. That's not diminishing the role or the problems other counties are facing, but they are the heavy hitters, I guess you'd say. That's kind of a hard way to say it, but that's what's happening. And you've also seen the state resources that are being poured into the border, trying to help secure the border, trying to help secure it. And they are doing a great job. But these counties dealing, if nothing else, providing that cemetery that you saw, and the weight, financial weight that is placed on Brooks County and these others is tremendous. And we're trying to address it to a degree within the state legislature and with additional state resources. Now, Joe Maley, rancher from B County, 150 miles from the border. We've had the illegals come through our area forever. It's nothing new. But what's changing, we don't leave the keys in the pickup now. We don't leave the house unlocked when we leave. And we're 150 miles plus from the border. No comparison to what these people are dealing with right here. No comparison. But my point in that is it's moving north. The problem is moving north. You heard from Jim Wells further north. And so we're a long ways from having this under control. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Jesse Howell? Howell Cattle Company.
Thank you. I ranch in Jim Wells, Duval, Brooks County, on a feed yard with fattened cattle for slaughter. And I believe that a guest worker program would definitely be a solution to the problem that we have, where the worker would be over here, be able to work, freely go home, visit his family. I think the situation that we've gotten to today, the man comes over, gets a job illegally, then he ends up sending home. He can't go back home to his family. As soon as he earns some money, he smuggles his family, his wife, children in. For one man overworking, we end up with 3 or 4. Immediately the kids go to school. We have to doctor them. They put an overburden on our emergency rooms. Also, over the years, the past 30 years, I've developed a friendship, people that I do business with in Mexico, large landowners, ranchers that run cattle, trade cattle, and I get the feel that they're taking the idea of we're the consumer of the drugs over here, we're the ones needing the labor over here. They're the ones that have been trying to stop it, made the cartels mad. In other words, they're ready to make peace with the cartels. Let it come on over here. And I think we see it coming over here. I think this is it and what we're seeing today. And so the fight is coming on our side, and I don't think we're prepared for it yet. I think our law enforcement are probably overwhelmed, and what we do about it, I don't know, but it's definitely a problem. It's here, and urgently we need something done.
Thank you, Jesse. Blair Fitzsimmons from the San Pedro Ranch. She's also the chairwoman of the SCPRA Border Security and Immigration Reform Subcommittee.
Senator, good afternoon. Good to see you. Thank you for being here and giving us an opportunity to speak. As Susan said, I'm here to get the perspective of the South Texas Property Rights Immigration Committee. That's a mouthful. But also a perspective as a rancher, businesswoman, mother, and human being. As you know, Joseph and I, who sent his regards, ranch in Dimmitt County, a different part of the border, but the problems are the same as what you've been hearing here. We share the same concerns. Joseph and I have been focused on this issue since 1996, when a Border Patrol agent got shot in the head outside our gate. We woke up and realized that the issue, the the movement of people back and forth across the border that we had been accustomed to for so many years had changed. And it was new, it was different, and it was dangerous. We started looking into it. The more research we did, we realized that until you remove the economic incentive that's involved in illegal immigration, you're never going to break it. And I hope I'm not stepping on any toes here, but when the bus driver from Carrizo Springs can drive out to the ranches, let the kids off, drive down the road, open the door, whistle, fill his bus up, brought it back to town with illegal immigrants, and make more in an afternoon doing that than he does in a month. It's endemic of the economic drivers behind this whole problem on both sides of the border. And until you break that, you don't break it. You don't break illegal immigration. Secondly, from our perspective, we need to challenge the assumption that they all want to be here. The folks that work for us are all from small towns in Mexico. They'd much rather go home, take their money, invest in their communities. We have forced them through our failed immigration policies to come up here, bring their families up here. You heard this from Jesse. Our employees, we buy them health insurance. They never use it. They go home to Mexico to go to their doctors. So assuming that they want to come here, live here, use our resources, I think that assumption needs to be challenged. Third, we have a humanitarian crisis that nobody's talking about. Heard a little bit about it earlier. But when you see 9-year-old boys who are coming to the United States to find their mother, they have no idea where their mother is. A 9-year-old boy that we found recently on the ranch. We've got a huge humanitarian crisis. I'm rushing here because I see the red dots. And I need to give you the perspective of the South Texas Private Property Rights Association. We believe, like Fresno and a lot of the ranchers here, the ranchers that Keith represents, we are in the beef business. We are in the agricultural business. We are here to help feed America. And we need a business climate that is secure and in which we can do business. In order to do this, we need the Border Patrol to have better equipment, tools, personnel to do their job. But we also need to reduce and eliminate the incentives for continued illegal immigration. And we do this through a guest worker program that Jesse talked about, a market-based guest worker program. We do it with a biometric ID system for immigrants and legal residents. We need criminal background checks and health checks for all currently illegal residents and future guest workers. We need strict employer enforcement in hiring and compliance with labor laws. And in short, we need to create a climate, a business climate, that allows for a good, humane, market-based guest worker program with enforcement of employers and employer sanctions. So we appreciate, I ran through that very fast. Susan can give you the list. I've been flagged there, so my time's up. But we really appreciate you being here today and listening to everything this group has to say. Thank you.
And Blair, we really appreciate you traveling a 4-hour round trip to be here today. Thank you so much. All right, that's gonna wrap up the speaking portion. We do have some time. Ali, how much time do we have to think about? Maybe 10 minutes of questions and answers. We've got the handheld here. Nicole, I might have you work the mic. If anybody that hasn't had a chance to speak, any of our attendees that are sitting in the back, if anybody has any questions for the senator.
I have a question. That MS-13 that the dogs put in the tree, when the Border Patrol picked him up, he actually told Linda he'd be back. And Linda, being as tough as she said, I'll be waiting. Where do we stand in protecting ourselves when we're out here by ourselves with a sheriff's department that has no resources, a Border Patrol that can barely cover the highway, and we're out here on our own?
Well, that's a great question. Law enforcement can't be everywhere all the time, and so that's why I believe that the Second Amendment protects your right to protect yourself and your family and your property and your way of life. And so that's, I realize there's a big cultural division in the country. You know, if you live in New York City or Chicago, you may look at this issue a little differently. But I liked what the game warden was saying, you know, 30-round clip may make more sense when you're out here by yourself trying to defend your family and your property. But it doesn't make any sense to people who live in other parts of the United States. But I think we're going to be fine. I don't think there's an appetite, notwithstanding all the media push. I'm talking about the Northeast media to try to do gun control measures. I think what we need to do a better job of is on people who are mentally ill. And you know, that's the common thread. If you look at what happened in Tucson, Aurora, the Virginia Tech shooter, and Sandy Hook, it was the mental illness of the shooter. No background check would have prevented Adam Lanza from stealing his mother's guns, murdering his own mother, and then going to commit that terrible crime he did against those poor innocent kids. So I hear you. I'm with you.
Well, where I'm going with this is we've seen Border Patrol agents prosecuted here for slapping them upside the head with a flashlight when they're assaulted. And we've, like Linda mentioned, we've had 3 or 4 assaulted and taken to the ground. And in one case, one guy, her dogs helped that Border Patrol agent. And also us as being sued. If these guys get out, you know, or released, you know, being hit with a civil suit.
Well, those are some important points. We need to make sure that our law enforcement can do their job without being afraid of retaliation or litigation. And that may be an area that we might be able to do some good in this legislation.
I have
Senator Cornyn, everything that these landowners are talking about requires money. Where are we gonna get this money? Where is the federal government gonna find money? I'm a federal employee right now, with sequestration affecting everything. I mean, you can listen to it, and right now you're the only one from Washington, it seems like, that cared enough to come down and take the time out of your personal schedule to hear us out. Where will the money come from?
Well, it's going to
I'm
come
only
from
bringing that up.
taxpayers, is where it's coming from. And the sequestration, you know, was 2.4% out of a $3.6 trillion budget. Unfortunately, I think a decision was made in Washington to maximize the pain from the sequestration, and we saw that in the furloughs at the FAA. We saw shutting down the spring break tours at the White House. I mean, silly stuff, and certainly federal government has got a spending problem it's got to manage, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't be dealing with our priorities. And I think our priority should be public safety, number one, and that includes border security, but that includes making sure that people who feel vulnerable because of the failures of the federal government to help local law enforcement and the landowners, that we come up with some solutions. And that's the reason I'm here, to listen and to learn. And a lot of the materials that you all have given me and the pictures you show me, we're going to try to figure a way to make that meaningful to the people who work in Washington. Again, I don't live in Washington. I just happen to work there in that hostile forward operating base in Washington, D.C. But what have you got here?
This is actually Mr. Durham's board that have been covered up that people need to see.
Yes, Senator, I interviewed quite a few of these people. Now I even got them on DVDs, and I heard somebody stand up there and say something about the number that come into here as far as 300. I figure 400 and 500. So you got 400 and 500 at 15 or 20 to a bunch. Then you've got 30 bunches, and every one of these bunches are exposed to 3 coyotes at least. So that means that you got also 100 coyotes coming through here every day. Okay? And I want to give some of those DVDs to the press and stuff.
Yeah, we would welcome, in addition to the materials you all have given me, I know we had a short time for everybody to make their presentation, but if there's additional information, I hope you'll share that with us. And particularly Andy Garcia, there's Amy, or David James, my state director, or Drew Brander will be back there.
I think Annie said we have time for 2 more questions. Do we have?
I have a question. My name's Mark Collette. I'm a reporter at the Corpus Christi Caller-Times.
And Mark, we're gonna do an avail over here afterwards, so you can definitely grab one.
Okay, I'll give, all right, we'll
Perfect.
let other people have some time.
You've been busy all afternoon hearing from us, but what we want from you, how can we help you?
Well, that's a very nice question to ask, but actually I work for you, so I'm here trying to do the best job I can representing 26 million Texans in the United States Senate. But one of the things that's become pretty obvious to me is that we've got a big border, and we've all got ideas about ways we can fix what's broken. But it's what I'm worried about is that so much of what people think they know about the border they read about in some novel or they saw in a movie, they don't really understand the facts, and so that's why it's so important to get the facts from you, so that will help inform hopefully some policy changes in Washington D.C. We're going to try again to deal with this immigration issue like we did in 2007. But in the United States Senate alone, there are 43 new senators who weren't there in 2007. And they come from places all around the country, and like I said, they've never been here, they've never had the benefit of learning as I have from you what the situation is. And Arizona is different from San Diego, and people think, well, all you need to do is put a fence up. Well, you know, that may work in San Diego, but it doesn't work here. And thank you for your very nice question, but I'm really here just to figure out how we can take what you're telling me and we can go back and translate it into effective legislation that will help address some of these problems.
And I've been told that's the last question. Senator, it's meant a lot to us, and I appreciate everybody's participation here. I know it wasn't easy to get here and be a part of it, but this shows the senator that we're all speaking with one voice and we're all saying the same thing. Thank you all again.